Hey everybody, welcome to Genie Railways. My name is Greg. This is my YouTube channel. Alright, so you want to do a Christmas display. You know, the classic thing with the tree in the middle and the trains running around the edge. Pretty cool, right? And you may be thinking to yourself, Greg, it's a little late to be doing that. No, it's not. No, you can do this. I promise you can. You don't need a huge tree. You don't need a bunch of trains. This is simple, I promise. And with the automation that I show you and some of the things and the tips that I'm fixing to show you, you can do it. I promise you can. Let's get to it. Okay guys, so let's start with the very basics. First you're going to choose what track you want to use. Now for G scale track, you don't have a lot of options, but for your O scale, you either have your tubular track, your conventional type track, or you have the fast track. Now I chose fast track not because I really favor it. Frankly, I don't like it all that much, but it doesn't want to come apart quite as easily, and if you haven't taken it apart and back together a million times like some of us have, the connectivity stays good. So that's what I chose. Now the disadvantage of the fast track is it's super loud on that concrete. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, years ago, every ad you saw for a model train around a tree somehow was on carpet, like a round carpet. Don't do that. not if you're going to use the tubular track anyway. Now what happens, regardless of however your carpet is made, somehow those carpet fibers always wind up in the gears of your train. So if you're using the tubular track, don't do that. Now if you're using the fast track, I think you're probably safe and probably okay. Just vacuum really good before you do it. So all right, let's move on to some of the other aspects. Okay, so this may be the lowest tech demonstration I've ever done. So what you're looking at here is called the Genie App, Geeni. And it is compatible with Genie smart plugs. And the reason I chose these was because they didn't need a hub, they didn't need Alexa or any of that other good stuff. They just simply work with this app, and once you get them set up, you can do a schedule, you can run things, make them come on and off pretty much anytime you want to. The way I have mine set up is that pretty much it plays music all the time unless the train's running, and then when the train's running it has its own music. So the music goes off for the 5 minutes or whatever you choose for your train to run. And yeah, it makes it pretty, makes it look a lot more sophisticated than it really is. It's not really all that sophisticated, frankly. But so what I found is that like when the trainer stopped and you're kind of looking at the thing, it's kind of boring. I mean, there's not a lot going on. I mean, I do have a little bit of animation here on my clock tower, but other than that, it's pretty static. So I just added some sound, and if it'll work, you know how you want to demonstrate something and it won't work. So you should just, there you go. Now we should hear music, maybe? Yes. Wow, I love it when things work. So like I said, then when the trains run, they have their own music. So I set that on another smart plug. So when the train gets ready to run, the sound will shut off, and then this one will automatically come on. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so see what I meant about that fast track being loud? I don't know if if my lavalier is selected to do noise cancellation. If it is, you can't hear it, but I promise you, this is almost as loud as the music. So yeah, that's a consideration. Now I have mine in a room where I can close the doors, so that helps a little bit. So that is a consideration if you're going to run on concrete. So, all right, let's talk about some other things. Let me turn this off so we can hear ourselves think. All right, let's talk about some of the logistics and some of the problems that you might run into. And I'm also going to show you how I did this, and I have to turn off the light to do it. This little snow effect, which is pretty cool. It is very, very inexpensive, and I think it's well worth the money. Anyway, we'll get to that in just a minute. Okay, so the snow effect is simply this little guy right here. It's just it's meant to go on the ground, I believe, and for your yard, but I did it inside, and it's just got a little prism thing and the LEDs that spin, and it makes this cool snow effect. I got that at Walmart. It's been a few years ago. I'm sure they still have them. They weren't expensive. I want to say 20, 30 bucks. I thought it was worth 20, 30 bucks for this effect. So, take that for whatever it's worth. So let's look at some of the logistical things that you might run across, especially if you have your tree in the middle like I do. you know, of course, you don't have to have a tree in the middle. You could just do a Christmas display with your trains. So, all right, let's look at that though. Okay, so let's talk about what you're actually going to have in the middle of your train track. Now, like I said, the way I have mine set up, you really couldn't do presents or anything, but you know, opted out of that, and we just decided the little town would be nicer, which it is indeed nice. Now, you got to keep in mind though that, you know, anything you have on the center of your track can't affect your train. For instance, this cotton stuff, if it got into any of your gears or stuff on your trains, that would probably be the end of that particular that particular locomotive. I mean, I'm laughing. That's not funny. I mean, that would be actually pretty tragic. So you need to be cognizant. You keep everything, you know, to where the train can't snag it or whatever. And we'll talk about that here more in a moment. But I thought it was worth mentioning. You know, if you're going to do, you know, stuff in the middle, you need to really make sure that it's compatible with your trains. You need to think ahead a little bit. It might save you a little bit of heartache and a little bit of money later. All right, so one of the things that you will find is that if you have a Christmas tree in the middle, the power has to get to it somehow. And of course, because I have the town, I have, you know, some additional wires as well. And what I did, and of course, you know, I'm sure that probably my inventive folks can think of other things, is I just used a little cheap plastic bridge and I just ran my wires across that. Now this is on the back side, so you can't see this. I put all my power supplies and so forth on the back side where, once again, you can't see it. Now if you're running the G-scale track, now you're not going to have as much trouble, because as you can see, the wires will go underneath your track without a lot of issue. So all right, that's pretty cool to know. Let's go to something else. Let's do something else. Okay, so I guess it probably goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. Whatever display that you choose to do, especially if it's around your Christmas tree, and especially if you choose to have something like this underneath it, you may or may not realize that you're probably not going to have a lot of options for presents underneath your tree if that's something that you need or are into. So that's something to consider. If we're not going to have any under our tree, we will just do without that particular thing. We will put them someplace else, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was worth, you know, the look that we have here to forego that particular tradition. So anyway, yeah. All right, guys. Well, that's really about it, guys. I mean, there's not a lot to it. I hope that somebody got something out of this video. I'll post a link, I think, to the smart plugs that I used. I got them at Walmart. I think you can probably get them just about anywhere. But anyway, and that might help you guys out. Might help you do a little cooler display than you might normally have, where things can stop and start and do what they want. Now, I don't know if I said this before, but in one of my last videos, we talked about the Lionel 1060, which is what the Lionel is here on the inner track. Of course, you can't see it right this moment, but and the reason I chose that is because it doesn't have an E unit. So if you have something like most marks, not all marks, but most marks, that may not work for you if you're going to do some automation, because what's going to happen when that power comes back on is it's either going to go forwards or reverse, and you may not want it to go reverse. So yeah, and so that's something to think about. Now most of your Lionels with the E unit, they have the setting to where you make it, you know, static. But anyway, that is definitely something to think about. Now the G-scale locomotives, they are pretty much tried and true for this, and that might be, I don't know, most folks maybe best choice or best option. This is the Bachmann. I got this a bunch of years ago. It's been a really good one. It's solidly a Christmas train, but it's pretty hardy. Once again, I don't think that I would recommend running them just a real long time without checking them out, making sure they're not overheating or, you know, somehow damaging them in your display. So I have mine set to run 5 minutes every hour and a half hour, and that seems to be pretty good. So anyway, people seem to like that. They seem to enjoy the weight. It's kind of fun. So anyway, all right, guys. Well, that's about it. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. I enjoyed making the video. I enjoyed sharing this with you guys. If you watched any of the live streams leading up to this, you know that I spent hours upon hours upon hours doing this, trying to get it to this. I tend to be a little bit of a perfectionist, probably to a fault. So it really, honestly, wouldn't take people anywhere near as long as it did me if you're not just totally a perfectionist. So, all right. Well, to our returning subscribers, thank you for putting up with our shenanigans and stuff such as this. We really enjoy you guys. We enjoy your friendship, your camaraderie, your suggestions. You guys really just are the best. We think of you guys like family. If you're not yet a subscriber, well, why not? You should join our family. We have a good time here. We do what I call train shenanigans, and people seem to like it. So anyway, all right, guys. Well, that's about it. I hope that somebody got something out of this that they might enjoy, something that they might find useful, maybe. So anyway, all right. With no further ado, GGS Railways out.